The chilling reality of hate, lessons from Rwanda and Tajikistan. This tragedy unfolded because hatred was permitted and actively encouraged. 8 years ago, my professional journey led me to Rwanda, where I was working on a local entrepreneurship initiative. My local guide, Zhang, was a survivor of the genocide. His quiet, unforgettable words resonate with me still. Rets. This tragedy occurred because people were given permission and even the motivation to hate. The Rwandan genocide was ignited when government-controlled radio stations began broadcasting messages filled with violence and deep-seated animosity. Fueled by intense resentment, fear, desperation, and blinding anger, an estimated 800,000 lives were brutally extinguished in a mere 3-month period. Friends turned against friends, neighbors became killers. The entire global community watched in shock, witnessing the swift and total disintegration of a society. Zhang, however, was a remarkable man whose history was defined by incredible resilience, immense bravery, and profound sorrow. He managed to lead his niece and nephew to safety across a border, navigating treacherous landscapes after his own parents and siblings had been murdered. He and I visited some truly harrowing sights, subterranean mass graves, chilling memorials, and a church where 20,000 people were slaughtered using machetes, bullets, and grenades. Their blood-soaked clothing and personal belongings remained scattered among the pews in the very sanctuary where they had desperately sought refuge, only to meet horrific violence. From civil war to conversation, finding common ground in my earlier career, I worked for the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. My initial assignment as an economic development specialist brought me to Tajikistan shortly after their devastating civil war. This experience provided me with a direct, first-hand understanding of the consequences when communities cease to communicate or are unable to do so. That civil conflict cost 100,000 people their lives. I vividly recall a conversation with my youngest employee there who, as a young teenager, described sitting on his own roof with a machine gun, shooting at people attempting to kill him and his family. During my 7 years spent across Central Asia, I distinctly remember arriving in Afghanistan. I was genuinely uncertain how I would successfully complete my mission, to facilitate international trade with surrounding countries' nations ravaged by protracted war and severe ethnic violence. As you can imagine, these early discussions were inherently challenging and intensely tense. To achieve a breakthrough, I had to rely on fundamental life lessons learned years ago: genuine curiosity, respectful listening, and personal humility. These qualities were key to initiating dialogue. Typically, these crucial conversations would begin simply, often while sharing a meal or breaking bread together. The profound warning and the path to empathy. This history brings us to the present day. How many of you in this room find it challenging to discuss current global events with your family, co-workers, or friends? Please raise your hands. This reluctance often stems from the fear that these important conversations will quickly degenerate or turn ugly. I admit that I am also guilty of avoiding such talks, even with my own family members, because I know they could damage those cherished relationships. I recently reviewed a study from the Agra Institute at Johns Hopkins University that was deeply concerning. It stated that 50% of Americans now view members of the opposing political party as outright immoral or even evil. This statistic is alarming because my experiences and understanding of history confirm that when dignity and humanity are lost, neighbors, friends, and colleagues within our communities can turn against each other with frightening speed. The atrocities of the Rwandan genocide and the Tajikistani civil war are not merely historical tragedies. They serve as a profound, urgent warning for us all. They demonstrate just how thin the boundary is between true civility and total chaos. A core lesson learned in those demanding roles is this: when the sense of shared humanity and dignity is completely extinguished, the worst possible outcomes can occur, and they can occur with shocking ease. However, I firmly believe a different, better path exists. The philosopher Plato once noted, "The highest form of knowledge is empathy, for it requires us to suspend our egos and live in another's world." This ancient wisdom confirms my belief that meaningful conversations and empathy are deeply important, offering a clear way to see each other's inherent humanity. The true path forward is not seeing others as immoral. The path is finding a way to genuinely acknowledge each other's humanity. We must begin by refining and recapturing the art of respectful dialogue. It is about building trust. It is about actively listening to one another, regardless of your background, race, political beliefs, or what side you take on the important debate of pineapple on pizza. Those essential conversations won't be initiated by politicians or leaders in power. They must begin with me. They must begin with you. They begin with us. This change starts in our homes, our local schools, our businesses, and in everyday spaces like coffee shops, diners, and cafes. It will start with you, standing in line at the post office or engaging in the routine, daily exchanges we all have. The task I'm proposing to you is simple, yet incredibly challenging. It's called the Common Ground Project. My core request is that you actively host and support restorative dialogues within your community. Specifically, this means organizing informal meals, dinners, or coffee meetups with people who hold opinions that fundamentally disagree with yours. Hosting restorative meals. Rules for connection. When hosting these meals, I urge you to approach them from a standpoint of genuine curiosity and mutual respect. The environment must be safe, allowing all participants to share their true perspectives without fear. The main objective of these gatherings is not to change anyone's mind, but to change hearts, to foster a sense of shared humanity, and to build common ground. For these efforts to succeed, we obviously need clear ground rules. I want you to utilize my action framework and the specific action questions I am about to share. This framework is designed to help guide the interactions and maintain a calm atmosphere. The ACTION framework for dialogue. Ask, pose genuine questions, replace the impulse to debate with curiosity. Consider, fully contemplate their opinions and perspectives before you formulate your response. Think. Reflect on the shared needs that lie beneath the surface of the disagreement. Invite. Seek out collaboration on common goals and shared community interests. Offer. Demonstrate respect, especially during moments when it feels most difficult. Next steps. Focus on solutions, not on finding blame or assigning fault. 3 core questions for building trust to effectively build curiosity and trust. There are 3 key questions you should ask. Can you share a moment or life experience that profoundly shaped your worldview and the person you are today? What is one hope or concern you have for your community or family that you believe everyone here actually shares? What is something you genuinely wish people who disagree with you could understand about your personal story or perspective? These are powerful, curiosity-based questions that are critical to helping us truly see, hear, and trust each other again. This is why I want to turn this concept into a major social movement. A movement for hope and humanity. Imagine the profound impact if we hosted 1 million such dinners or coffees that 2 million people's lives and perspectives changed. That would be a truly significant start toward returning to a place where we can communicate openly and where families can safely discuss world events. I must briefly take you back to the history of Rwanda. We cannot afford to continue down this perilous path of hostility, division, blame, and hate. History provides clear evidence that this is a disastrous course and we are not exempt from its lessons. I ask you today to commit to the Common Ground Project. Host a dinner with someone whose beliefs differ from yours. When we commit to listening with the intent to truly understand, we will learn something valuable. We will discover our shared humanity, and that, in turn, will help us find greater hope for the future. This initiative requires only 3 things from you: courage, a clear commitment, and your action.